we have, of course, created this raw structure, but there's no formatting, sadly, on the structure. Not yet anyway, but of course what we're going to do in this exercise is throw in a whole ton of CSS properties. I want you to brace yourself because there's going to be a lot of typing here, a lot of content to throw in here. So I'm going to start things off. I'm going to attempt anyway to work in an orderly fashion by starting at the top and working my way down. So go ahead and find your header ID selector. We're not concerned with the divs. The divs are just straight up HTML content. What I'm interested in, of course, are the ID selectors that we've created. So go ahead and find your header ID selector. And here we go. Here's your properties for your header. So the first thing that I want to do is set a height like this. And I'm going to go 100 pixels for my height. Again, I've already figured out all these properties and numbers ahead of time. So I'm just going to plug everything in here. I'm going to set a background color. And the background color is actually going to be kind of a sort of a mid-gray color. So I'm going to go $sign CCC, just like that. And then I'm going to set a border. So border, full colon space, 1 pixel, solid. And I'm going to go $sign 000. That's going to give me black. And the other thing that I want to do is I want to set some spacing. We talked about this a while back. So I'm going to go margin hyphen bottom. There we go. This is going to create a gap of space below the header region or the header area. And I'm going to go with a margin bottom value of 5 pixels. Okay, wonderful. That's the first one down. We only have 3 more to go. So next guy is the menu. Go ahead and find your menu. And let's go ahead and set our dimensions for this guy. So the width on this fella is going to be 150 pixels. The height on this guy is going to be 300 pixels. There we go. Let's see, I'm going to set a background color once again. So background full colon space. And I'm going to use the same color, $sign CCC, followed by a semicolon. I'm going to throw the same border onto this guy as well. So border 1 pixel, solid, and then black, $sign 000. There we go. And the other thing that I want to do is I want to float this guy. So I'm going to say float left. Okay, wonderful. So he's, again, going to be floating on the extreme left-hand side of the screen. Okay, great. Let's move down to the next guy, content. The width on this fella is going to be 801, which might seem a little odd. 801 pixels. And let's see, the height on this guy, I'm going to set to 300 pixels. There we go. Background color, same as before, $sign CCC. The border is going to be the same, 1 pixel, solid. And I'm going to go with the black, $sign 000. There we are. What else? Well, I want to float this guy. There we go. I'm going to float him to the left as well. And the other thing I want to do is I want to create some spacing. So I'm going to go margin left. There we are, of 5 pixels. And I'm also going to set a margin bottom of 5 pixels as well. Okay, wonderful. That's great. So we're spacing apart all of our divs by 5 pixels, by the way. And all of our divs are going to wind up having this solid black 1 pixel border all the way around all 4 sides as well. Okay, only one more to go. This is actually going a lot faster than I thought. Let's go with height for our footer, which is going to be 50 pixels. And I'm going to clear both. Now, why am I doing that? Because the 2 divs that appear above my footer, menu and content, and of course, I just caught a typo on menu. There we go. Glad I caught that. But both of these divs are floating to the left. So I want to make sure that footer does not wrap up beside content. I want to force it down to the next available line. We've seen some examples of this already. That's why I'm throwing the clear in there. Okay. So clear both, and background, same as before, $sign CCC. And then finally the border, 1 pixel, solid, and 000 for black. Wonderful stuff. Okay, go ahead and save up your work, flip back over to your browser, hold your breath, and refresh. And what we wind up with is a series of 4 boxes way up at the top of our screen. Why are they at the top of the screen above all of our other content? Because that's where we placed them inside our code. All of our divs here that we've created are above Ontario and Toronto and all the rest of it. So that's where they appear inside the page there. You can see here that we have a menu on the left-hand side, which is floating to the left. He's pushing all the way against the left-hand edge of the browser window. And then I have my content div, which is also being pushed towards the left, but I've got that margin left, that gap of 5 pixels, which is giving me that space there. I also have margin bottom, giving me this space here, and margin bottom across the header as well, giving me this space here. Wonderful stuff. Okay, now the only thing is, things look pretty good here, but you'll notice that the header div and also the footer div run right across the entire width of my browser. So I hadn't set a width on these guys, which means they revert to the default width, which is 100%. 100% of the browser window. So if I scale down my browser window, of course, what happens is the width of the header and the footer also extend or collapse, depending on if I make the browser window larger or smaller. But check out what happens once I make my browser window smaller than the main content area. Look at that. We get some shifting happening, right? And then eventually some horizontal scrolling. Okay, so what I want to do next, well, I want to do a bunch of things. Basically, what I want to do is I want to finish off our layout. I want to restrict the overall width of the layout. And then last but not least, I want to take all of the page content that we have and I want to stick it into our content container. So let's go and see how to pull all of that off.